with the South African Army saying that the current number of soldiers who died during the fire which ripped through the Army Combat Centre in Lohatla in the Northern Cape stands at 6. The fire is still raging, we understand. It's left 3 other soldiers injured and they remain in hospital. The fire allegedly spread from a nearby mine to a combat centre where soldiers were preparing for the SA Army Vukuhlome exercise yesterday. Let's bring in SABC News reporter Thabiso. Thabiso, bring us the latest in terms of what is taking place there. We understand that the fire is still raging and the death toll currently stands at 6. Do you have any latest developments? All right, we're trying to touch base with our colleague Thabiso, who is in that vicinity of the fire. What we're hearing from the South African National Defence Force is that there are 6 people who have since passed on in that blaze, which is still raging at the moment. My colleague Thabiso is in that area. I'm not sure whether as a result of what is taking place there, as this is a developing story, whether we're not able to connect with him through the network, if that is also affected at this particular point. We'll certainly try to connect with him a little bit later on, whether he is there. Thabiso, are you able to hear me at the stage?
Yes, I can hear you, Griselda.
All right, Thabiso, thank you very much indeed. I see you seem to be standing in what appears to be a room. How far is the fire from you? What is the latest pertaining to the death toll? And is it still raging? Do firefighters have the situation under control? What is the latest there?
Good afternoon, Griselda, and your viewers at home. Yes, of course, the mood is very, very somber here at the Lohatla military base, military area, where 6 members of the South African National Defence Force perished following those fires. Network.
All right, we do apologize for that. I did indicate a bit earlier on that we do seem to be experiencing challenges with the network in that area. That confirmed by my colleague Thabiso, and that's as a result of the 6 members of the South African National Defence Force members who have since passed away as a result of that raging fire. It seems like my colleague Thabiso was due to speak to someone from the Defence Force there at Lohatla on what the latest is, whether the death toll is still at 6. Have firefighters been able to contain the situation there? We understand that this is a developing story. What was the cause of the fire? Are there any clearer in terms of what the cause was? But absolutely devastating news. This is a developing story at this particular time. Thabiso, I'm going to hand over to you and allow you to give us the latest of what's coming out of there. Over to you.
Yes, of course, apologies for that hiccup, Griselda. Yes, as I explained earlier on, the mood is very somber here at the military base, where 6 members of the National Defence Force, South African National Defence Force to be precise, perished last night when that raging fire started. But with me is the Major General here, just to tell us about the way forward, what's going to be happening now, and how do they feel at the moment losing 6 of their members. Thank you for your time, Major General. Just tell us the feeling here. We were speaking with some members here. They are very, very sad on what really happened here last night, especially yesterday. What's the mood like here? How do you feel?
Of course, the mood is not so good since we have just lost our members. But as soldiers, we are forging on. We came here for a reason. And the reason is to exercise combat readiness of our members. The Chief of the South African National Defence Force has been here with us. The Chief of the South African Army has been here with us, and they encourage us that we should forge on. And this is the word that is going out to say, yes, some things like this will happen, but even in the battlefield they happen, we still forge on.
Just confirm to us and our viewers, how many members have perished here? Because earlier on we were speaking about 4, we spoke about 5, and then ultimately we spoke about 6.
At this stage, we have lost 6 members. Their names have not been divulged since, of course, the families have not been informed.
Now, tell us about the background of what really happened, because we are being told, we are not sure, that the fire came from the local mine here. Just tell us about the background on what really happened.
Yes, Lohatla, the SA Combat Training Center, is surrounded by the mines around. So what happened yesterday, somewhere around 13:45, the fire on 3 areas came to our training range, and of course the speed of the fire was as those that were there are saying, the wind was somewhere around 70 kilometers per hour. So we couldn't contain that fire, and even though we had equipment to deal with fire, but it managed to penetrate to the areas that had been established to conduct an exercise.
I know that we'll get this assistance to go and check there what really happened. Have you managed to extinguish the fire, the fire brigade? Have they managed?
With our own equipment, yes, we did. But as I'm speaking to you right now, in another area also, we have 2 fires that are going on, but we are trying to contain that fire. But what we have done now, seeing what happened yesterday, we have moved all the soldiers that are in that area so that we can contain that fire. And the beautiful part of today is that we are even having the local farmers coming in and assisting us.
Major General, moving forward now, we understand that 6 have passed on, and then they were working with people, obviously their colleagues. Are you going to be assist some of their colleagues, especially they are ahead at the moment?
With me here, I have the chaplain, and it is their job to really deal with the emotions of the families. We've got multi-professional teams that have already been in contact with their families just to try and console them. But we have also spoken to the soldiers here. They've committed themselves that the only way of emulating these members that passed on is to carry on with an exercise and achieve the objectives that have been set for us.
There you have it, Major General Patrick Dube telling us about the incident that happened last night, especially in the afternoon. It started actually at 1:45 in the afternoon, where soldiers were busy with their training. They obviously tried to contain the fire, but unfortunately 6 of them passed on. And as I explained earlier on, the mood is sober, but they are strong, as you've heard from the Major General, that they are moving on with their work that they are here for. So it's back to the studio. We're going to be going to some of the veld where this fire was raging, and to see, because he's saying that there are 2 areas where the fire is still raging. So we're going to be going there and check what's the situation at the latest. Thank you very much. It's back to the studio.
All right, Thabiso, thank you very much indeed. Be safe out there as you head towards that area where we understand that the fire is still raging there. Major General Dube confirming that 6 members of the South African National Defence Force have since passed away as a result of that fire. This is a developing story. Our colleagues, Thabiso Radebe and our camera colleagues also out there at this particular time. The soldiers that were in that particular area, as we're hearing from Major General Dube, have been moved from there. However, operations are continuing. That exercise, which was due to take place, will continue as well. And certainly we'll get further details at a later stage as Thabiso moves from that area where he's conducted that interview. Looks to be one of a safer place at this particular time for our colleagues to bring you the latest with regard to what is taking place there. They will now move to the area that has been affected, where the fire continues to rage. 70 kilometers per hour, if I'm not mistaken, is what I heard the Major General say in terms of the wind speed, and that is why you had the firefighters unable to contain the fire that was raging at that particular time.